7:30. We'll call the Board of Adjustments meeting to order May 10th. Before you, Secretary, please record the roll. Is this mic working? Okay. And before you have the minutes, are there any corrections, additions?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to accept the minutes as printed.
Moved by Pat to accept the minutes as printed. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Sean. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carried without dissent. First on our regular agenda, to consider a variance request to allow of an increase in the allowable accessory structural area. This lot has a total proposed area of plus or minus 2.383 acres, which would allow for a maximum accessory structure area of 1,950 square feet according to the city's code. This variance is being submitted to increase this allowable accessory structure area plus or minus 3,000 square feet to allow the two existing garages to remain on this site. Who is here to speak for that? No one. Is anyone here to speak against this? Anyone here to speak for it? Okay, open this up for discussion. Leonard, do you want to lead off? And
This is one of the steps that needs to come forward in whether the board approves or denies this application is for the subdivision, the Stables addition. In order for the subdivision to move forward, this would have to pass. Actually, Andrew, if you're here to speak on behalf of.
okay.
Thank you. Andrew Schrank with Highlands Engineering. As Leonard had noted, we've been working on this subdivision now for the last 6 months or so. For the subdivision to move forward, we are currently not meeting the accessory structure code on one of our lots. It's, I believe it's lot 4, block 1. As we've replatted this, we've taken it from one single lot to 28 lots, one of those being an agricultural lot for a proposed stable and riding area for horses. The remaining development would be rural residential, approximately 1 acre residential lots. Where the existing residence lies, there's an existing house that the current owner is renovating, and there's also 2 garages and several smaller sheds. Those smaller sheds are being removed as part of this development to meet this accessory structure code. The 2 garages, however, he would like to keep. They are about 3,000 square feet in total area. With the 2.8 acres, the maximum accessory structure would be, I believe it's 1,950 square feet. So instead of that second garage remaining up in the city's landfill, just to meet the accessory structure code, we'd like to get the life out of it, allow that thing to remain on site. And that's what we're here today to request the variance for.
Is that Quonset going to remain?
The Quonset will remain. That'll be on the agricultural lot, so that will not have to follow the accessory structure.
Of this.
Correct. That'll be part of the stable lot, actually.
Okay. Questions?
Any comments from the neighbors?
I haven't received any comments for or against.
Okay.
Comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, John.
I guess one question, whether it's for Leonard or Andrew, I'm not sure. You're trying to keep these 2 garages. Is there any concerns? Because if we approve this, we're just granting 3,000 square foot plus or minus accessory structure, that they would come down and something you wouldn't have maybe some control over would go in, or is there a way to just tie it strictly to these accessory structures and then future would have to maybe go through this process again, or?
The board, if you wanted to make that as part of your motion, you certainly could do that.
If I may, one request we may make is that he's allowed to at least, re-side and do some renovations on those. I believe he's re-sided one of the garages already. He's re-sided the house, so to kind of match what he's done with the other structures, if he could at least do some improvements to it, which I think would fall under what you're indicating.
Yeah, I don't know
That would
if
be desirable.
I'm just at, like, if they would come down and then something different would completely go in there just under the 3,000 square foot instead of what's existing is, I don't know if there's some concern in the future, whether that's 10 years, 15 years, because this is granted, is there any concern?
I guess as part of your motion, like we generally do with exceeding our accessory square footage, is that you could set that as a stipulation that the maximum square footage for this lot will be 3,000, whether it's one building or 3 buildings. That might cover that. I believe if this board approves this and one of these buildings is destroyed, our department would allow them to rebuild back to what this board allowed. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I understand. My question is, say we approve this at 3,000 and then he goes and tears them out next week. He's got approval to go up to 3,000 with whatever type of structure he wants, right?
Correct.
And if we're approving it based on what's existing, that's one thing, but if we're just granting, is there any concerns, is all I'm asking from a city's perspective, that we'd be getting something to where we're granting this square footage?
If you wanted to tie it to these existing structures, the city would definitely support that. And if something happened to these structures, they would have to come back to this board and ask for another variance if they wanted to exceed by whatever amount that they came in at.
Isn't the, on the agenda, aren't we approving 3,000 square feet as maximum that could be built? Isn't that what this means?
I think you could take it either way. These are, the hardship is that these are existing structures, I believe. And to tear them down, that would actually create that hardship.
I think as far as the applicant's concerned, either way would be fine. If we allowed 3,000, or if, as Leonard's indicating, we allow these structures to remain, that's what he's really after here is we don't want to record the final plat and have to tear a garage down that still has some life in it and just put that in a landfill. So I think if the city was okay saying these are allowed to remain until they need to be reconstructed, my only fear then is, are they just going to remain forever in terrible condition? They could be an eyesore out there because they know that if they tear them down, they can't get these garages. So just something for you guys to keep in mind if you'd rather see that, or if you'd rather allow them to do the 3,000 square foot structure.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes.
it might make sense to address to Sean's comment if you potentially made the motion subject to size and use, where to address Sean's comment, they couldn't come back and construct something that was outside the scope of what was originally intended, which I think is agricultural to some degree. That might be an option too to consider. It's not only is it size, but it is relatively similar to the current existing use of the property.
Other comments, questions? If not, is there a motion to deny or approve the request?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the request as written.
Motion to approve as written. Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'd ask that, like we do in circumstances like this, that no additional, as part of the motion, that no additional accessory structures permitted or unpermitted shall be on the property.
I think this was part of your motion, wasn't it?
I'd like to include that in my motion, please, yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I'll second.
second by Trevor. Any further discussion? Yes,
Do we need to add anything to the motion, or do you want it exactly as written for the usage?
My motion is as written with the addition of no other
Okay.
structures.
with no other structures rebuilt.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Okay, Bruce,
Aye.
Trevor,
Aye.
Sean,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
I'll vote aye. Very good. Thanks for coming. Okay, second on our agenda, we're back to the mobile home park. To consider a variance request to reduce the required mobile home zone setback to 6 feet on the north and east property lines and to reduce the south setbacks to 0 feet. Who's here to speak for that? Give us your name and all the particulars.
I'm Gene Prouse. I'm the owner of the mobile home park. I guess we've been here before, like in February. Nothing's changed a whole lot on it other than I was requesting a 0-foot setback, and now I'm requesting a 6-foot because the 0-foot was denied. And on here, I included a fire lane from Mr. Selly. He needs 70-foot turnaround, and with this particular drawing, that's exactly what there is 70 feet between the homes. If I go any further on a setback, any larger setback, it won't pass the fire department's requirements for a hammerhead turnaround.
So Gene, we're talking about option 1. Is that on your drawings? Is that?
I only have one option here, this big one.
I have 3 options here on my.
That doesn't look familiar. That looks like the ones you guys had in February.
Mr. Chairman, I believe that in your packet is everything that Mr. Prouse has submitted.
Okay. Okay, I understand.
Yeah, it'll be a big sheet like
I'm
Trevor had.
assuming we're looking at this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So I have a question.
Questions, Bruce?
So it looks like you're going to be moving a trailer, a couple trailers, in order to make this, because you've got on the, let's see, which side is it here?
8 of them, Bruce. I'd have to move 8
Oh, you're moving 8, okay, okay.
because there's 3 of them currently on the city right away.
Okay,
And then the other ones are over the property lines on the railroad side. And one of them's on the property line on a city lot. House number 1.
so this drawing then doesn't include purchasing any property like was suggested the first
No.
time? Okay,
No. Well, and I think that's still in the works, I
Okay.
believe.
I believe that the city is considering selling that lot, so
Okay.
it's not done yet.
but this drawing does not include that?
Correct, and it
Okay.
should not.
Okay,
The width requirements for the fire department to access the back was not an issue to them. Mark said that he just needed enough to get in there with the fire truck. He wanted 20 foot. I think this currently is showing 40 feet.
For your entrance.
Yes.
And there's just one entrance and exit, that same.
That's the one and the same.
What-
And I guess the hardship while I'm here asking for this is if I move these houses back, I have to put in small homes. The more setback we do, the smaller the home's gonna get. Right now in the front, with a 6-foot setback, I can only put in 54-footers. The original thought with the 0-foot, I could have put in a 60-foot. Well, to put in a 54-foot, this is even gonna be difficult because if you do a single wide, there's few and far between that are less than 60 feet. You're talking maybe a FEMA style of homes. And I guess, I wasn't here, if you guys remember, in February. I didn't know I was on your agenda for March. Otherwise, I'd have been here asking for the 0 yet. But you guys voted on it, and I wasn't here to ask or explain to you why I needed the 0. Well, it was because of the size of these homes. And in order for me to come back here and ask for, try this again, I had to change what I'm asking for, according to what Leonard had told me. So I'm here requesting the 6-foot, but asking for this 6-foot now is really gonna limit me what I can put in there.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
based on conversations with Mr. Prowse, he did have another option. He had an option to appeal your decision to the city commission also. Just want that for the record. He chose to come back to this board with a different request.
Okay, thank you, Leonard.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for the city. Are you accepting the 6-foot? I mean, are you okay with that?
Well, our code states that we have a 35 buffer. We're not going to accomplish that at this location. This truly is a hardship when you look at our code and you look at the property. A lot has happened at this property over the years. What we're trying to do is, what this board decides to do is make this a safe property. I believe having that minimum 6-foot setback, as you recall on our first meeting, Board of Adjustment approved a 10-foot setback on the west property line. That was approved, and essentially that's what kind of what we looked at. We were okay with a 10-foot. With looking at our residential neighborhoods, our setbacks on primary structures right now are 6 feet, barring any easements. Our front yards are 25 feet. In order to apply this to this is a MH district. We're not going to get the 35. We're not going to get the 25. So that's why Mr. Prowse is here. What can we do to make this a nice environment for this area and a safe environment for this area? Minimally 6. I would not support anything lower than that. Obviously, going back, we would like to see that 10. But again, with Mr. Prowse explaining the size of the homes, they shrink out. So I think a good compromise is a 6. I still would like to see a setback on the railroad side instead of a 0. I'd like to see a 6 there, but again, that may, it appears fire department isn't here today. I guess as part of the motion, if we move forward with this, is that they meet the requirements of the fire department. I have not spoken with the fire department for a while here on this project, so whatever their requirements are, they're not here to speak. So it's essentially saying that Mark Selly had a statement. We want to verify that. so that they, as part of the motion, that they meet the turnaround for the fire department. Granting a variance for reduction in side yards does not diminish the other requirements of the code for safety. So they will still have to meet with setting up these homes. There's going to be requirements from the building department. Setting them to their final spots will be requirements for access and the road surface with the fire department. So there are additional things, and the request is a reduction only in setbacks here. No other requirements shall be waived.
Thank you.
When the city took over the inspections for the mobile home parks, there was in there that the roads and so forth were to be maintained to its current standards to support I can't remember how many pounds, 50,000 or something like that, of a surface, a hard surface to support the fire trucks. And the other park owners requested that they don't have to pour cement or lay pavement down or anything in any of the parks. They just needed to have a type of surface hard enough to support the fire trucks. This is an existing park. I should not have to pour pavement or cement or anything. I just need to maintain a hard surface to support those trucks. If this was a new park going in, the code is, I believe they need to live up to the standards of paved roadways or cemented driveways and so forth for fire trucks. This is existing. I should not have to put down anything that more than a hard surface that'll support the trucks.
This a different,
I'm just stating that there are other requirements. So based on the city municipal code, those standards on existing or new would apply. That will be something that we will work out with Mr. Prowse and the fire department as far as that surface goes. The code covers that, so you are correct as far as existing or new.
okay. We're,
This
morning we're interested
This morning
in
we're on
setbacks.
setbacks.
Mr. Chairman, just a couple of questions. Based on the plan, it looks like you're probably having to reduce by 2 trailers, is that correct?
Three.
3 trailers to make this
Number
work?
9 and 10 and 19.
Okay. And so obviously, if we required any more, that's probably going to end up being additional trailers that you would lose if we required a bigger.
If I have to go more setback, the one that probably for sure would need to go then would be house number 4. And then house number 1, if it's 10 foot, I'll have to remove that to make the 70-foot turnaround hammerhead for the fire department.
Sure.
Because that is minimally 70 feet right now between the homes.
Okay.
And that's what Mark stated he needs to have a legal turnaround is 70 feet.
Okay. Another question, you've got 6 foot on the north and east side and 0 along the railroad. The road width on the one drawing looks like a minimum 20 foot. Do you know if that's, my question is, you're moving these trailers anyway and it looks like they're behind some sheds or something on the one drawing, but they're not necessarily on the property line. Is there a way you could get 6 feet along that railroad?
Sheds.
The squares
I
on
don't know
the
what they
drawing
are.
are the vehicles.
Vehicle,
Oh,
that's
vehicles.
parking.
Yes, that's
Okay.
parking.
But with that 40 foot it looks like maybe you're 2 or 3 foot off of the property line, the way these are drawn anyway. I mean, obviously, I'm just looking at the drawing. Can you get another 3 foot to keep a 6 foot along the railroad as well, or?
If I do that, that's gonna tighten up that 70 foot again.
Okay.
I mean,
for
I'm at
the middle?
70 foot minimum, so it would be house number 17 would make that turnaround area less than the 70 feet required.
Okay, that's why it's just kind of deceiving on the drawing, I guess, a little bit.
This is made to 1 millimeter equals 1 foot. So if you can picture 1 millimeter, that's exactly what this is to.
Okay. As far as the railroad, it's pretty wide railroad right away there, though we're not encroaching on the tracks or anything, but you don't happen to know as far as operation of
I do not.
that spacing, right?
No. One additional, Mr. Chairman, board members, whether or not there's actually pins on this site. So I would ask that Mr. Proust locate existing pins or have pins set in order to make sure that when we measure, we have something to measure off of when this is said and done.
The pins are there.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Are you, on the south side of the property, are you moving all of those ones except for like 3?
Pretty much, yes. Yep.
Okay.
The 3 to the west stay.
Okay. And the 70-foot drawing you have is between, I guess they're labeled differently on which drawing we have, but,
There's one here that has them all.
so on the big drawing, it looks like you have them as 21 and 1. Is that correct? The 70-foot?
21 and 1.
Or it would be,
So that would be the north side? Is that what you're
yeah,
talking?
yep, the north side, this is for the 70-foot, the turn radius.
Yes. Okay. The house number 1. Yes, that house currently is on the lot, the city lot
Okay,
at this time.
okay. If we,
And then house 21 is at the 10-foot setback.
okay, if you did, if you had the 33 feet lot purchase from the city on the north, and we moved all those, because you're moving all those ones anyways, right?
If I have to, yes.
Or
Yeah,
1,
that
2,
depends
4,
on
are
the
those being
setback.
moved or no? Because one has to be moved,
One
right?
has to be moved. 2 and 4 are very close.
Okay, and then, but 5, 6, and 8 are new, right, would be new
5,
ones?
6, and 8, all those are,
That would be like a new purchase.
and
right?
10. And 12.
And 12.
That
If,
whole front is all off.
if you had that extra 33 feet from the city, and those would all be moved anyways, except possibly 2 and 4, if you shifted those to the north,
I would like to, but
we could have the 6-foot setback on the south, if everything shifted, no?
I suppose that's possible, but
Okay,
I was told I can't talk about that yet because I don't own it yet.
okay,
And I don't know if it's even gonna happen.
yeah, no, I'm just,
I mean, we've been in the works for 2 years on trying to purchase that lot and
okay.
nothing.
Mr. Chairman, I have a
Yes, Bruce.
question.
Any comment from the railroad regarding the setback of their trailer?
I haven't, the city has not received any comments for or against
Okay, okay.
any of the requests from the applicant.
MDU, as you guys are aware, is redoing all the gas lines and so forth in the city, in my area for sure, and down in that area. They already started putting in gas lines down there, not aware that we have a situation like this going on. So the other thing is, MDU's gas lines, what they put in right now is going right down the driveway. So the further I move those off the south line onto the lot further, so to speak, the gas lines are all needing to be moved then.
Excuse me, Mr. Prouse, I did receive a call from MDU, and I did inform them of your request.
Okay. Because right now, the gas meters are in the front of these homes. So if we move them, yeah, it would have to be, MDU would have to be let known that what they put in right now is not gonna work. Because they can't have any homes over the top of the gas lines.
Other question? No one here to speak for or against?
I have one more question.
What question, Trevor?
When you measured out for the south side, I mean, is that for the drawings you have, like the 44, 50, 67, 48? Is the 70-foot turn and all that stuff to the actual foot of the trailer where you're moving it to? Like, do you have any, like, do you have 2 or 3 feet on the south?
I measured between house number 1 and house 17, that's exactly 70 feet. At the 6-foot setback, bringing house number 1, that's 6 foot back. And then the further I get in, Trevor, if I was to move these tighter, it makes the driveway tighter,
Yep.
which is kind of tight already.
Questions?
Mr. Chairman, this is looking at the new diagram here. I like the way this is cleaned up. I think that it looks a lot better than it did with the 19 homes in there, a lot more cluttered. This cleans the site up a little better. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of leeway in it, but I would entertain a motion to approve the 6-foot setback, and along with that, the stipulation that they have to follow what the fire department is requesting, and the south setback to remain at 0 and possibly be fenced. That would be a motion that I would make.
Motion to approve the 6-foot setbacks?
On the north and east,
And they should remain at a 0 setback
on the south.
And to follow all fire codes and work with the fire department. Is that part of it?
Yes.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Second by Sean. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I
Trevor?
just have a question. The fence is not part of the motion, that's just a, or
A
is it,
suggestion?
can
or
we
is
put a
that part of
fence
the
on a
motion?
0 setback?
Well, I'd like to make it part of the motion to fence that back so that we have a definite line. Once the pins are located, I'd like to add that also, that the 4 property pins are located for the city to make sure that the setbacks are in place, and then to fence the south property line with a
That's part of your motion.
6-foot chain link fence.
Is that all right with your second, Sean?
Yeah, I'll agree on the second.
Can we fence a 0 setback?
You can have a fence on a property line.
Okay.
Other questions? Other comments? If not, Pat,
Aye.
Sean,
Aye.
Bruce,
Aye.
Trevor,
Aye.
I'll vote aye. Clean her up, Gene, thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Any other business to come before the
Mr.
board?
Chairman, I don't have anything.
Under other. Blaine, nothing? Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Actually, we will be
Oh, go
having,
ahead.
we will be having a meeting next month. Just,
I am not going to be here next month, so Pat, I won't be here in June.
June? Yeah, I think I'll be around.
that's,
Okay. Motion to adjourn. Trevor, second by Bruce. Okay.